Wendy's old-fashioned hamburgers were inspired by Dave Thomas's trips to Kewpie Hamburgers in his hometown of Kalamazoo, Michigan. Kewpie sold square hamburgers and thick malt shakes. Thomas founded the Wendy's in Columbus, Ohio in 1969 and featured square patties with corners that stuck out from the sides of the circular bun, giving the impression of an abundance of good quality meat. The Columbus location later added a Tim Hortons and was closed on March 2, 2007, after 38 years of business due to declining sales. Basketball star John Havlicek, an Ohio State University alumnus, was one of Thomas's earliest investors, which eventually gave Havlicek enough of an income stream to retire comfortably. Thomas named the restaurant after his fourth child, Melinda Low Wendy Thomas. Photographs of her were on display at the original Wendy's restaurant until it closed. In August 1972, the first Wendy's franchise, Ellis Hartzog, signed an agreement for Indianapolis, Indiana. Also in 1972, Wendy's aired its first TV commercials that were only broadcast locally in Ohio. The series of commercials was titled "Come On to Wendy's" because they stressed Wendy's superiority through the "Quality is our recipe" slogan and featured an animated Wendy similar to the one from the corporate logo along with dancing hamburgers. The first Canadian restaurant opened in Hamilton, Ontario in 1976. In December 1976, Wendy's opened its 100th restaurant located in Toronto. In March 1978, Wendy's opened its 1,000th restaurant in Springfield, Tennessee. Wendy's founded the fried chicken chain Sister's Chicken and Biscuits in 1978 and sold it to its largest franchiser in 1987. In the 1970s, Wendy's opened in Australia, but by 1986, almost all of their Australian stores were purchased by Hungry Jack's, the Australian franchise of Burger King, on 13th of May 2021. Wendy's opened a pop-up store in the Rocks in Sydney's city centre for a day. In 1979, the first European Wendy's opened in Munich, West Germany. The same year, Wendy's became the first fast food chain to introduce a salad bar. Wendy's entered the Asian market by opening its first restaurants in Japan in 1980, in Hong Kong in 1982, and in the Philippines and Singapore in 1983. In 1984, Wendy's opened its first restaurant in South Korea. The chain opened locations in the former West Germany in the 1980s in cities like Mannheim, Heidelberg, and Munich, and other areas where the U.S. maintained army bases. When the troops were removed after German reunification in the early 1990s, these Wendy's stores were closed. In response to a 1986 slowdown in the chain's performance, Wendy's restructured its cleanliness standards, menu, and other operational details to ensure that stores met the goals and standards of the parent company so that its franchises were competitive in the market. Wendy's closed all its outlets in Hong Kong in 1986 and in Singapore in the following year. From 1988 to 1990, Wendy's expanded operations globally to Mexico, New Zealand, Indonesia, Greece, Turkey, Guatemala, as well as the U.S. naval base in Naples, Italy. In 1988, Wendy's expanded its bar to a full-blown buffet called the Super Bar for $2.99. The Super Bar had various stations: Mexican Fiesta, the Italian Pasta, and the Garden Spot, salad and fruit. The Super Bar was popular but difficult to maintain, and thus it was discontinued in 1998. In 1989, Wendy's opened its first restaurant in Greece in Syntagma Square, being the first foreign fast food chain in the country. After opening 12 restaurants in 3 cities, the company abandoned the Greek market in 2002 due to differences with the local franchisee. Although it was a very successful and profitable business at the time. In 1996, the chain expanded in Argentina by opening 18 local restaurants. However, all of them closed only 4 years later due to the economic crisis in the country. In 1998, Wendy's pulled out of South Korea by closing all its 15 restaurants, and in 2000 exited from the UK, Argentina, and Hong Kong. Garden Sensations salads were added in 2002. Wendy's has signed a franchise agreement to re-enter the Singapore market in 2009. Though that agreement was short-lived in April 2015, Wendy's once again ceased operation in the country and closed all the restaurants. In 2011, Wendy's returned to Japan and Argentina, announcing a development agreement for 50 restaurants in the country. It also entered the Russian market for the first time with plans to open 180 restaurants over a 10-year period. However, only 3 years later, in 2014, Wendy's closed all its restaurants in the country. In 2013, Wendy's opened the first restaurant in Georgia and made a deal to open 25 restaurants in Georgia and the Republic of Azerbaijan. In September 2014, several pork-based products were introduced to be on sale until early November. These included a standard pulled pork sandwich with slaw and 3 sauce options, a barbecue pulled pork cheeseburger, and cheese fries with pulled pork, cheddar cheese sauce, onions, and barbecue sauce. In May 2015, Wendy's announced that they would be expanding into India with its first outlet located in Gurgaon. In 2017, the company sold 140 of its restaurants. The divestiture was the second step in the 3-step action plan to improve the brand. Other steps include new openings and remodeling of existing stores. In 2015, the brand opened 80 new restaurants and remodeled 450 of its existing locations. The brand's goal is to remodel at least 60% of its North American locations by year-end 2020. In September 2016, JAE Restaurant Group acquired 97 Wendy's restaurants throughout the South Florida region. JAE Restaurant Group is one of the country's largest franchisee owners. The group owns 177 Wendy's restaurants. Wendy's company has been looking to remodel existing stores and upgrade the curb appeal of its locations. They have been doing this by adding fireplaces, more seating options, adding Wi-Fi and flat-screen TVs, and digital menus. Wendy's company expects to sell 258 more restaurants during the rest of 2016. In total, it will be looking to sell $435 million of its restaurants. In December 2017, Wendy's announced a partnership with DoorDash for food delivery in the U.S. In October 2019, Wendy's announced that it was returning to the UK market, which it had served from 1980 to 1986, then again from 1992 to 2000. The first 20 The first of 20 planned restaurants was due to open in 2020 in Stoke-on-Trent, but it was later announced that the first location would open in Reading, Berkshire in the first half of 2021. The Reading location opened on 2nd of June 2021. In January 2021, Wendy's announced that after their bankruptcy, a franchisee, NPC Quality Burgers Incorporated, half of NPC's outlets will be bought by Flynn Restaurants. Wendy's by country and continent. The Americas, Argentina, returned in 2011, Aruba, the Bahamas, Canada, since 1976, both locations outside the U.S. and United States, Chile, Dominican Republic, Ecuador, El Salvador, Cayman Islands, Guatemala, Honduras, Jamaica, Mexico, Panama, Trinidad and Tobago, United States since 1969. Asia, Azerbaijan, Georgia since 2013, first location in the Caucasus, India, Indonesia since 1990, acquired by Transcorp as of 2013, Japan since 1980, closed in 2009 to 2011, Kazakhstan, Kuwait, Philippines since 1982, Qatar, United Arab Emirates, Uzbekistan, first location in Central Asia, Europe, United Kingdom, reopened in June 2021, Oceania, Guam, New Zealand, former locations, Australia, 1970s to 1986, Brazil in 2016 to 2019, Costa Rica in 2005 to 2015, Germany, Greece, 1989-2002, Hong Kong, 1982-1986, then again in 1992 and 2000, Hungary, 1984-2002, Ireland, Iraio, operated for a few years from 1987, Italy, Malaysia, 2008-2019, Netherlands, Russia, 2011-2014, Singapore, 2009-2015, South Africa, South Korea, 1984-1998, Spain, 1980-2000, known from the 90s as Welcome, Switzerland, Taiwan, Thailand, Turkey, Venezuela,